How's everybody doing? So good to see everyone. I'm guessing you're all subscribers, which is why you're here right now. So thank you. Dressed up for you guys today. It's not often that I wear a collared shirt. Not often I wear a collared shirt here on YouTube. So not just a collared shirt with clouds and boats, water. My goodness. Thanks for being with us on YouTube. We're also streaming live on Facebook. I don't do this often enough, so I'm glad that you guys are hanging out with us for this one. If you have some questions, drop them in the chat. I'll, of course, get to the super chats first. So if you have some super chats, please drop them in there and we'll get to those questions. To answer the main questions here, how are you doing? Like this one on Facebook, I'm doing quite well. It's been a really good day. I just got in from the gym. I don't know if you couldn't tell. I just got in from the gym and working on a few interviews that we have coming up in the next few days. Actually, got a really good one dropping tomorrow on my podcast. If you're watching this and you haven't subscribed to my podcast, Insight with Chris Van Vliet, wherever you listen to podcasts. So we had Eric Bischoff on last week. Remember that? So, who do you pair an Eric Bischoff interview with? You pair an Eric Bischoff interview with Vince Russo, bro. So Vince Russo is going to be on the show tomorrow on my podcast, Thursday on YouTube. So if you haven't subscribed yet to my podcast, check it out. Insight with Chris Van Vliet. And it was funny. You guys know Vince Russo loves to say bro. I mean, his name should probably be Vince Russo, bro. I was like, we started the interview and I'm like, how long until he says bro? And it was, I don't know, you can watch the interview when it comes out, but it was probably 14 seconds into the interview. And Vince Russo's like, bro, so good to be on your show, bro. So good to have you here, bro. A lot of bros going on. So yeah, it was awesome to have him on. And I'm excited for you guys to see this whole thing. I'm going to answer. Let's see if we can answer as many questions as we can here. Dr. Funk, you're absolutely right. I did need a bro counter. My goodness, there was so many bros. Janet, great question. Did I catch Cherry yet? Yes, I'm in the movie Cherry. Yeah, the new Tom Holland movie. Tom Holland, Spider-Man, his new movie called Cherry, directed by the Russo brothers, the guys that directed Avengers Endgame. I am in that movie. If you pay very, very, very close attention around the 24-ish minute mark, you will see me in that movie. So yeah, check it out. And I mean, Tom Holland's an incredible actor. So yes, I've seen Cherry, amazing, deep, dark film. And yeah, you see a familiar face for 30-ish seconds. Tom Talks Rubbish. Thank you for the super chat. Please bring these super chats in as quickly as you can. We'll get to those ones first. Thanks for the advice about how to calm my care agency director before our interview. It really helped, and the interview went very well. I'd love some feedback. Really look up to you as an interview. Well, thank you, Tom. And I basically just said to you, Tom, like the same thing that I tell everyone else. I think that people freak out when they hear the word interview. They freak out. In reality, an interview is just a conversation between two people, but a lot of people think of an interview as an interview with a capital I, and they start to go, oh my gosh, I'm not used to being interviewed. I'm not used to doing interviews. And they start to like really freak themselves out. So I'm glad it went well. I look forward to checking that out. And I'm glad that the advice, helped you a little bit. I was the same way for a long time. I think that when I first started my career, I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to talk to someone for that time? 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Now we're doing interviews for like an hour, and you just think about them as like just a conversation between two people. So yeah. So my goodness, look at all these great questions that are coming in here. First of all, happy belated birthday, Skylar Smith 200. Yesterday was your birthday. Well, my birthday, and if you've been listening to my podcast, I've been just plugging it in every single episode. My birthday is May 19th. So I remembered your birthday here, Skylar Smith, because you popped it in the chat. Hopefully you guys can remember my birthday, May 19th. Steven, really good question. Beard or no beard? Do we consider this a beard? I don't know. I don't think this is a beard right now. This is like, I'm just too lazy to shave and haven't shaved in, I don't know. I think this is 6 days, maybe 7 days. Beard or no beard? I'm going to go no beard, but like the scruff. So that's kind of what we have right now. We've got a little bit of scruff, and I think that that's what we're going to keep going with. Chris Van Beard 24/7. I don't know. I mean, I think we float in between. And when you watch the Vince Russo interview, we both have beards. Is MJF a star to me? Oh, how many MJF questions are we going to get? MJF's the worst. Do not enjoy MJF. Absolute worst. Brandon, I'm going to be 38 on May 19th. 38. I know I don't look a day past 36 and a half. It's that Tiege Hanley. And you guys are so right. Every time I say May 19th, Kane is freaking out somewhere. You're right, Jonathan Martinez. May 19th, he does not like that. He does not like that at all. Here's a good question. The wrestler that I want to interview. I've talked about this a bunch, but number one on that list, I mean, it was The Rock for the longest time. After I interviewed The Rock, then it was like I wanted to interview Tom Cruise. And of course, Tom Cruise isn't a wrestler, but I interview a lot of celebrities, comedians, directors, entertainers, whatever. So I want to interview more than anybody. I want to interview Vince McMahon. Just Vince McMahon, the person. Like Vince McMahon, the wrestling promoter, that's interesting. And I guess this answers a few people's questions, like this one from Sarah as well. Vince McMahon, that is who I want to have an interview with. And I want to just like figure out like what makes Vince McMahon tick. Like, what is it that like drives Vince McMahon's life? Like, what does he read? What time does he wake up? What do his workouts look like? I'm just fascinated by the person that he is. So Vince McMahon on that list. I'd also like to interview Stone Cold Steve Austin again. I just got a really quick interview with him many, many years ago. It wasn't in person. It was a satellite interview. So Stone Cold Steve Austin. Then I'd like to also interview the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. It was like a 6 out of 10 Bret Hart impression. But yeah, so there's a couple for you. I agree with you, Killwalker. Vince doesn't sleep. That's how he's accomplished everything that he's accomplished, right? It's pretty amazing. How many times do you go to the gym? I mean, a day? No, I usually went once today, went earlier today, and I go 5 to 6 days a week. Vince McMahon would be big. He's the owner of WWE. He'd have so much to say. You are right, Jesus. You are absolutely right. Thank you for the super chats that are, they're starting to come in now. Thank you. What a username. Butthole Weeb. Thank you, Chris, for what you do, good sir. Well, thank you, Butthole. Burning question. What's your favorite anime? If you had to give us a top 3. Oh, man. The Sailor Moon count? I watched a lot of Sailor Moon growing up. Does that make people like, I don't know, is that a good choice or a terrible choice? I honestly don't know if I have 3. Maybe you guys can drop some good ones in the comments here and I can pick from there. Paul, what's a normal day look like for you? Interesting question. Thank you. And no 2 days are really the same. So I try to go to bed around the same time and I try to wake up around the same time. So I'm going to bed at like a time that begins with a 10 and waking up at like 7-ish. And I'm on the West Coast. I'm in Los Angeles. So we're talking Pacific time here. So for everybody that's, watching this in the UK, you're like, oh my gosh, you're not waking up till like we already had lunch. But I wake up, I try to not look at my phone as long as I possibly can. It's usually half an hour-ish. Then I read. It's the first thing I do in the morning. I read. I also drink a big glass of water. Check out the cup I'm drinking out of today. WrestleMania 30. As I drink some water here. No, it's really just water. And then usually get to the day after that. So I've been to 9 WrestleManias, by the way. And this is the only thing I buy when I go to WrestleMania. I buy the collector cup. So I've got 9 of these sitting in my cupboard right now. 9. I also, and you guys have probably heard me talk about this, like 4,000 times, but my favorite match of all time, speaking of WrestleMania, yeah, it's on the wall. WrestleMania 18, Rock Hogan with the ticket like in the corner there. So, yeah. Soju81. Hey, Chris, when you wrestled, did you prefer pinfall or submission wins? What was your finisher? Well, the only real matches I had was a backyard wrestler. I don't know if those count. And then when I went to wrestling school, I didn't have any matches. I just trained for a few months and then decided, was it going to be school or wrestling school? Like school or wrestling school? And I continued with my college degree, got a degree in communication studies. But my finisher is a backyard. It's so silly when I talk about backyard wrestling. My name was Chris Sharp. Sharp talking, sharp walking, sharp dressing. That Ric Flair drip. My finisher was the Swanton Bomb. So I was a pinfall guy, but I also used the Texas Cloverleaf. I don't think I got anyone to tap out at the Texas Cloverleaf. We're talking backyard wrestling here. But I'm a pinfall guy. And there's nothing against submissions. I just prefer a pinfall victory for Chris Sharp. Yeah. Albert, pick your winner. Rousey versus Baszler, DeVille. Oh, wait, we're going all four of them. Rousey versus Baszler versus DeVille versus Ripley. Woo! Also, how do you want to see them use the ship at Mania? Kairi Sane returning it. Yeah, Kairi Sane. That would actually be perfect, right? With her entrance theme and her whole gimmick. Rousey versus Baszler versus DeVille versus Ripley. This is some sort of dream match here. I'd like to see Rousey win that. Like, I think that Rousey needs to come back and make a statement, even if it's just for another 6 months, year, like one more great run. So I'm going to go Rousey on that one. All right, here. Thank you, Butthole. What a username. Thank you for listing your top 5 anime. So you're an anime critic. So I'm going to, all right, there we go. Watch those. Daddy. Wow. Thanks, Butthole. I'm going to go, you've listed them 5 to 1. I'm going to watch them 1 to 5. How does that sound? Prince of Tennis franchise. Okay. All right. So there we go. Thank you for all of these. Wow. Smash Ultra. Did you know Kenny Omega's in an anime? Did I know that? Now I do. Now I know that. And now I've got all kinds of anime to watch for the rest of my day. So thank you for that. Very interesting question here. Who gave you the most uncomfortable interview ever? How many of my interviews have you watched? Because there's a few, and I'm sure you guys can drop some in the comments here. Who was my most uncomfortable? I think the interview that I did with Evan Bourne, the first interview I did with Evan Bourne, I think was very interesting. And if you haven't seen it, go check it out. Yeah, I see you guys in the comments. Evan Bourne. Yep. Oh, yeah. Here's a good one. MJF. He's the worst. MJF. You're right. Another MJF. Yeah, so there we go. MJF is probably he's the worst. MJF's terrible. So that's absolutely it. Yeah. Gareth King. Are you in contact with Dakota Johnson after that interview? Have you guys seen this? Have you seen the viral interview with Dakota Johnson and Leslie Mann? So about a year-ish later, I interviewed Dakota Johnson for a movie called Bad Times at the El Royale, which is a fantastic movie. And I was in Lake Tahoe, did this interview. I walked into the room to do the interview, and she immediately went, "Oh, hey, didn't Leslie Mann and I ask you to take your shirt off the last time we did an interview with you?" And I said, "Yeah, it was fun. Don't worry." She's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." I said, "Don't worry. It's okay. No worries. In fact, you can go check that video out. It's on my YouTube channel as well." So I haven't been in contact with her since, but she definitely remembered it. And I mean, I'll never forget it. Greg Vogel, thank you. You're not late to the party. Appreciate you being here with us. Appreciate you being, you're part of this crew. You've joined. So thank you for clicking that join button that's down there and being part of the Chris Van Fleet, which is what we're calling this. You're part of the Chris Van Fleet, Greg Vogel. but you're awesome. Thanks for the comment. And thank you for liking the shirt. I've been wearing a lot of t-shirts lately. I figured I would class it up here with the collared shirt just a little bit. And I appreciate you guys in the comments talking about how terrible MJF is. He is the worst. People are always like, when are you going to interview him again? And I'm like, well, if I had it my way, never, because he's awful. Thanks, John Keegan. Chris for president. I'm from Canada, even though I live in this country, I can't actually run for president, but thank you. Thank you for making it known that I would have your vote. I appreciate that. Crimson Jones, is there a video game character that's not already a wrestler that reminds you of wrestling? Ooh. Yeah, I mean, I grew up playing a ton of Mortal Kombat. I grew up playing a ton of Street Fighter. I really just pull anyone from those games, but I was like a back B, Scorpion, get over here. I feel like Scorpion and The Fiend would have a great match, or Sub-Zero and The Fiend. Maybe Kano or Goro. I'm just going to really pick anyone from Mortal Kombat. Aren't they coming out with a new Mortal Kombat movie? Yeah, so there we go. The Night Owl King. If you could manage anyone from any promotion, who and why, what would your prop be? Man, you guys are making me think here. If I could manage anyone from any promotion, I think I'd pick someone that is already pretty close to being over, so that me stepping in makes me look really good. Like managing Brock Lesnar, I think it'd be great. Also, you're the mouthpiece, Paul Heyman's the best, right? Paul Heyman's the greatest promo of all time. So I obviously can't compare to him, but with someone who doesn't speak and you're their mouthpiece and you're doing everything for them, I think that it really shines the spotlight on you. So I'm going to pick Brock Lesnar. Also, because he's a beast, and just one look at him and you go, that guy's terrifying. So Brock Lesnar, what would my prop be? What prop could I possibly pick that hasn't been picked yet? I played a lot of baseball growing up, but Sting had the baseball bat. Kerwin White had the golf club, play a lot of golf. I don't know. Let's go with something ridiculous. This is like Clue, Professor Plum with the candlestick. I'm going to say Brock Lesnar with the skillet. Yeah, I'm going to have a skillet. A full-on frying pan I'm going to hit people with. Why the heck not? Hey, thanks for another super chat. Soju81. Who are the top 5 women's wrestlers that you want to hang out with and why? Trish Stratus. Because she was growing up, Trish Stratus was it for me. So Trish Stratus. Also growing up, Tori Wilson. My goodness. And she still looks really good. Both so talented. Bailey, because she's so cool. And I've interviewed her and she's awesome. If you haven't checked out that interview, it was Bailey and Sasha at the same time. So we'll throw Sasha into this. And Alexa Bliss. She smells great, by the way. Maybe TMI? I don't know. She's great. So there's 5, right? Just off the top of my head. If I had given that more thought, no, you know what? I wouldn't have changed anything if I gave it more thought. Yeah. Best drink ever. You guys are awesome. Thanks for being with us and hanging out with us on this one. Hey, Ryan McCarthy, I had Will Ospreay on last year, although I just sent him a message yesterday and he says he wants to do another interview with me. So we might be seeing another one who, man, he is the best right now. My goodness, he is so good. Robert Jones, good question. Your favorite drink? I had one last night, a Moscow Mule. If any of you guys are going to WrestleMania in Tampa, I'll be there. So feel free to line up the Moscow Mules or craft beer. What? Who am I kidding? I'll drink anything that you give me. Yeah. Wayne, Christopher Prime Minister. Thank you. I'll have to move back to Canada so we can make that happen. Can wrestlers wear a mask even if they're not Mexican? Sure. Yeah. Excalibur does. I think it makes a lot of sense. If it makes sense for your character, yeah, I think so. I'm okay with that. I don't think you should just wear a mask for the sake of wearing a mask, but we've also got the Fiend wearing a different kind of mask. Tom talks rubbish. Tony Schiavone interview to complete the AEW announcer lineup. Did I miss your last super chat? I don't know. Did I? Feel like I hit them all here. Let's scroll back and see if we can find it. Yes, I want to interview Tony Schiavone. Oh, I missed a whole bunch. My goodness. I'm so sorry. I want to interview Tony Schiavone. We are trying to work to make this happen. I've interviewed like almost everybody that does a show on ad-free shows. So we need Tony Schiavone. We need Bruce Pritchard. And then we kind of, I guess we've rounded it all out. So yes, need to make that happen. Let's see. Sock Monkey Mike, thank you for being with us. SMM. Sock Monkey Mike follows me on Instagram. Do you guys? At Chris Van Vliet. Quick question to CVV. How do you feel about inspiring aspiring broadcasters in interviews? Thank you for being a great friend and inspiration. Well, thank you, man. And thanks for hanging out with us. It's pretty crazy to me that I would inspire anybody. The fact that, look, I'm sitting here in the corner of my apartment all by myself talking to my laptop. And the fact that there's a few hundred people hanging out with me is mind-blowing to me. So I'm happy that anybody watching this is inspired in some sort of way, whether you want to be a broadcaster, whether you want to be an interviewer, or whether you just want to chase after whatever dream it is that you have, whether it's on camera or off camera or whatever it is in your life. So it makes me feel pretty special that people definitely look up to this. So thank you, Mike. And I'm excited to see what's next for you, man. I really am. Ricardo Garcia. Would you rather interview The Fiend or Willow? Well, I've interviewed Jeff Hardy, but that definitely wasn't interviewing Willow. And I haven't interviewed Bray Wyatt. I was supposed to a few years ago and it fell through at the last minute. But interviewing Bray Wyatt is different from interviewing The Fiend. I think I'd rather interview The Fiend because he is just a fascinating character. Wow. Yeah. So we're going to go with The Fiend or Bray Wyatt. I'll go with either one. There's a lot of super chats here. Thank you guys. I really appreciate you hanging out with us here. I'm going to try to get to as many of these as I possibly can. Tina, this is very kind of you. Tina Ross, thank you. Forgive me for saying, but I've always had a huge crush on you, Chris. Well, that's very nice. Thank you. I now have a crush on you. So, Greg, good point here. The CVV prop is the YouTube plaque. You know what? The CVV prop might be the Emmy. They're very pointy and sharp at the end here. Let me show you. Like, you can like stab somebody with that right there, right? Ow, actually, that really hurt actually. So maybe that's the prop. You know, one end you hit them with that, and the other end you stab them with that, like cut them open. Think we found a prop. That actually really hurt my hand. Wow. Greg, I just love the positivity you bring. Well, thank you. And thank you for being part of the Chris Van Fleet. Thank you for hitting that join button and being part of this community with us. Thank you to really everyone for hanging out with us on this. How many have I missed now? These are coming in fast and furious. Oh, butthole again. Got a question. Do you think eating B Hall is mealy? Also, do you think when someone farts in your pillow can give you pink eye? I mean, that's how pink eye is, that's how it's contracted, right? I don't know. I didn't understand the other part of your question. I don't know. But I definitely don't want anyone farting on my pillows at all. So, yeah. That is how. Have you ever had pink eye? I had pink eye. I don't think it came from someone farting on my pillow. It kind of sucked because one eye was like completely shut and crusted over and like disgusting and gross. And then I was like, well, had to go on TV a few days later with that. Okay. P. Vince. Appreciate your interviews. They are the most authentic in my opinion. Would love to see a Calvin Tankman interview. He's killing it in GCW and MLW lately. Be an interesting interview. I want to do another I want to do another 100 interviews this year. So let's add a whole bunch of names to that list. Hopefully Kenny Omega. Hopefully Tony Schiavone. Hopefully another one with Dolph Ziggler. Now, that'd be great. Yeah. That'd be cool to have him back on the show. Oh, see, lots of people in the comments. When are you going to interview Kenny Omega? When are you going to interview Kenny Omega? Great question. CVV to host WrestleMania? Maybe next year. Although Hogan and Titus O'Neil, that's going to be pretty great. Rob Legend, thank you for the super chat. What age did you start watching wrestling, and who is your all-time favorite wrestler? I started watching wrestling like religiously. Like I was aware of it growing up. Started watching it religiously when I was 15. It was the height of the Attitude Era. Austin McMahon was the main storyline at the time. I became a huge fan of The Rock. So to answer your second question, all-time favorites, The Rock. It's because of everything he's built. Like The Rock is insanely charismatic. So yeah, we're going to go with The Rock. And yeah. Well, Tom, thank you again. Tom Talks Rubbish. TTR. Loved your appearances on Cultaholic. Interview those guys one day? ? Yeah, sure. Yeah, let's make it happen. Oh, here's another person. Fireball 569. When are you going to interview Kenny Omega? I don't know. He doesn't really do interviews. So I think that the honest answer to that is, I don't know. I mean, I'd like to. Well, I guess we'll find out. Dropped in 27 minutes late. Going to watch from the start. Well, this will be a nice little surprise for you at the 27-minute mark when you see that your comment is up on the screen. Hellberyinger. You guys all have fun usernames. Mine's so boring. Chris Van Vliet. What a boring name that is. Joseph Perry. Boom! The $20 super chat. Let's keep this on the screen for a while. You are booking an Elimination Chamber match for the world title. Any wrestler, any era. Who are your picks? Wow. Well, I'm going to go with people who we've never seen in an Elimination Chamber. So like Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels are going to start this Elimination Chamber match. Okay. Amazing already, right? Sign me up. I don't even care who the other 4 people are. Shawn Michaels, Bret the Hitman Hart are in the ring. Who are the other 4 people on the outside? I love that we can go like all these different generations here. I think we're going to put Rock. We're going to put Austin in 2 of those little chambers. And then the other 2, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Ooh, yeah. Macho Man Randy Savage. And then we got 1 spot left. We're going to go with the man you can't see, John Cena. What a match that'll be. Who wins that? Shawn Michaels? Maybe. Ooh. Great question, Joseph. Thank you for that. Well, this is just a nice comment. Thank you for joining us on Facebook. I know we're answering a lot of YouTube questions here, but Christian, huge fan of your work. Keep it going, man. Well, I will. I have no plans to stop. Just plans to keep getting bigger and better. And if you're somehow dropping into this and you haven't subscribed yet, please take a second right now to click subscribe, and we can get more interviews and we can get more subscribers. We're 284,000 right now. Can we hit 300,000 this year? Probably. Can we hit 350,000 this year? Like my good friend Brandon Does Everything, who just hit 350. BDE. Love that guy. I just interviewed him actually. Can we get to 350 like him? I don't know. He's 21. If you guys don't know Brandon Does Everything, he's awesome. And he's 21 years old and is a full-time YouTuber. My goodness. The Yankee Power. When are your next interviews coming out? Tomorrow. I have an interview with Vince Russo coming out tomorrow on my podcast, Insight with Chris Van Vliet. So if you haven't subscribed to my podcast yet, the interviews go up on the podcast first, then on YouTube after. So Vince Russo tomorrow on Insight, then here on YouTube a day later. Although I'm going to put a little teaser clip This is my finger motion for teaser clip. Little teaser clip on YouTube tomorrow from the interview I did with Vince Russo. I just straight up asked him, I said, why do you say bro so much? And I don't know if he's ever answered that question. So that's a little teaser. It's like a 2-minute, little bite there, but it's an interesting answer. And he talks about how he would say bro all the time to Dixie Carter and she would get pissed off because she's like, I'm not a bro. Oh yeah. Glad you like the Macho Man impression. Yeah, it's like a 7 out of 10 cream of the crop. The cream, rises to the top. It's like a 7 out of 10, right? What a great question, Daniel. Favorite wrestling video game? SmackDown versus Raw 06. SmackDown versus Raw 06. And I played that game. Oh my gosh, I played that game so much. Smash Ultra. Do you think wrestlers can do fireballs like Ryu? Yes. Didn't we see a fireball on Raw? It's actually pretty cool when we see those fireballs. Yes, we definitely can see fireballs. Alexa Bliss. No, it wasn't Raw. Sorry, it was the pay-per-view. Yeah, fireballs for sure. Absolutely. Oh man, I can see this. Okay, I'm trying to figure out how to put this. There we go. How to put this super chat on the screen. This is like your third super chat. You're awesome. Thank you. Well, thank you. You're all awesome. You're all awesome for being here. Can you please interview one of the Japanese ladies from AEW? I'm sure we can find an interpreter and Sheeta speaks English. Yeah, I mean, all of the interviews I did with AEW have to go through AEW for approval. I actually just did an interview. I haven't even talked about this. I haven't even put this out in the world. So you guys are going to hear this first. I just did an interview with one of my very good friends who just made his debut in AEW recently, talking about all ego Ethan Page. So that was my last AEW interview that I did. You'll be seeing that on my channel next week. So once that one goes up, yeah, I would love to interview some Japanese talent. I want to interview everybody, but Sheeta would be a fascinating interview. So short answer to your question is yes, I would like to. And the slightly longer answer to that question is let's find out if we can. Andre, would you let somebody interview Chris Van Vliet? Hey, that's me. Also, would you give coaching on how to do great interviews? Well, thanks for the question. I've done tons of interviews. I'm actually doing an interview later this afternoon. If you type my name into YouTube or you type my name on the podcast, you'll see that I've done dozens of interviews over the last handful of months or the year. So yeah, I've done lots of interviews and will continue to do lots of interviews. I actually just did a podcast episode about what you should be thinking about when you're starting a podcast or when you're starting a YouTube channel. We definitely touched on some things about how to be a great interviewer, but I'm working on another episode right now where I'm going to give my top 5 tips for how to be a great interviewer. And I'll give you one right now. I'll give you my number one my number one tip right now for how to be a great interviewer. And it's going to sound so simple, Andre, but it's the most important thing you can do as an interviewer. Listen. It's the most important thing you can do as an interviewer. Listen. And I think the biggest problem with so many interviewers, and you guys know some of them, you see them here on YouTube, is they'll ask a question and then they just stop listening. They ask the question, their mind shuts off, their brain shuts off, and all they do is think about the next question that they're going to ask. And I think the most important thing is to ask the question and then be present in the moment and actually be listening to what they're saying. So there you go. Listen. Because if you ran into someone right now at a party, you wouldn't ask her a question and just blankly stare off into space. You'd be thinking about and listening what they're talking about. Jeff Hutchins, this means a lot to me. You bought the Axle Glade because of my recommendation. That thing is, if you guys haven't seen this yet, it's the ear cleaner that goes in your ear and connects to your phone and you can see exactly what's going on. You can scoop the earwax out. I just shot another integration for that. It's called the Spade by Axle Glade. Use the promo code CVV, get an extra 10% off. That thing is mind blowing. You're digging into your ear and you're like, I didn't realize all of that stuff was in there. Because Q-tips just push the earwax further in, but like the axle blade actually like scoops it out. You guys are like, I didn't come here to hear you talk about earwax. I get it. Ian, Chris, you are awesome. No, you're awesome, my friend. You could interview anyone, even someone as boring as me, and it would be great. Thanks for what you do. Well, thank you. That's very kind, Ian. No need to put yourself down. You're not boring. Not at all. So yeah, there we go. I would thank you. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you for being part of the community. Thank you for being part of the Chris Van Vliet by clicking that join button down there. Can you interview Mae Young's hand next? He's old now. The hand is like 20 years old, I think. Man. Let's scroll back up here. I think I missed a few of them. Hey Chris, how are you doing? Mimi? I'm doing great. Great to have you with us. And thank you. Vinesh, can you interview Ezekiel Jackson? Sure. Yeah. That'd be a good one. Okay. Let's make it happen. Yeah. Thank you for the super chat. Ryan, can't wait for the Ethan Page interview. I'm from Hamilton as well. Hope he kills it in AEW. It's a great interview. It's his first interview that he's done since joining AEW. And shout out to Hammertown. That's what we call Hamilton. I grew up maybe an hour from there, a little less than an hour from there. Corey MacArthur. Hello, Chris, the man behind Insight. Nice to meet you this way, good man. Great and inspiring interviews. Well, thank you, Corey. It's very kind of you to say. I appreciate you. Appreciate you checking out the podcast and appreciate you for being part of this right now. So thank you. Sharp photo that you have right there. Yeah, very sharp. I feel like, is that a bow tie? That is a bow tie. Man, stepping that game up. And here I am just wearing a collared shirt with boats on it. Definitely should have stepped this up a little bit more. What's your favorite horror movie? Saw. Saw got me good. I think we'll give an honorable mention to Texas Chainsaw Massacre. P. Vince, thank you for all of these super chats. On the topic of interviewing Japanese talent, is New Japan off limits? Would love to hear from talent such as Ishii, who can be really funny once he gets out of character. Yeah, I would love to interview more New Japan talent. With doing any of these interviews, you just have to get the approval. So I actually just reached out to my contact at New Japan yesterday to ask about 2 New Japan interviews. One, we've already seen on the show. Love to have him back. I just mentioned this, Will Ospreay, who I think is the best wrestler in the world currently. And number 2, P. Vince. I asked about doing an interview with Jay White, who is going to be at WrestleCon. I'm also going to be at WrestleCon. So if any of you guys are going to be in Tampa, it'd be great to see you there. So he's going to be there. I'm going to be there. I think it makes sense that we would both do an interview together. Tommy Boy, 313, 20 pounds. 20 pounds. Thank you. That's a lot of US dollars. Love your Jomo vids. Next chance, could you interview Miz and Morrison together? Q&A's focused on their team, dirt sheet memories, favorite tag matches, past and current run. They're so unsung and haven't done a team interview. Hey, ho, ho. Great point. I would love to just have the Miz back on the show, but you're right. Doing both of them together at the same time would be awesome. So yes, I'd like to. And John Morrison and Taya live like 10 minutes away from me. So yes, in fact, and I think that Miz lives in Hollywood again now too. So yes, Miz and Morrison together, I would absolutely love to make this happen. Gareth, watching you get cracked by the chiropractor still makes me laugh out loud. Ooh, you can feel my pain as that's happening. I actually just did an interview with Dr. Bo Hightower, which you're going to see later this week on my channel. What a fascinating guy. And he's made YouTube basically his like full-time job, even though he's a chiropractor, owns 5 clinics. So Dr. Bo Hightower, the man who is cracking my neck and my back is going to be on the show. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. It's just a fascinating interview. Butthole. I'm so sorry. Butthole. I just love saying butthole. Yes, you asked if I was going to interview Jim Cornette, right? I believe you asked that. I would love to interview Jim Cornette. I think we need to make this happen eventually. I think a lot of people would like to see a Jim Cornette interview. Okay. So I think that's it. These super chats need to like stick somewhere so I can make sure to like not miss them. Scrolling back here to make sure I'm not missing any other ones. Oh, I missed this one from you, butthole. Butthole. Oh, there it is. There's your Cornette comment. Can you agree that AEW is garbage? I can certainly not agree with that. No. But I can interview Jim Cornette. The state of wrestling depresses me. Well, hey man, there's always what's good and what's bad in every single situation. And I think that if the current state of wrestling right now depresses you, I don't know, that kind of sucks because there's a lot of really good stuff going on. I'd say the only thing that actually is depressing about wrestling right now is we're not hearing that crowd reaction, which is why I'm super excited for WrestleMania, because we're going to have 20-ish thousand people inside Raymond James Stadium. That's going to like make wrestling feel really awesome again. So look, it's been a tough year. It's been a strange year for all of us. And I think that wrestling's been the one constant that we've had throughout this whole thing. So I appreciate that as weird and perhaps depressing as the state of wrestling might be right now, because, you know, we are hearing every footstep in the ring and there's really not a lot of big crowds. I think the fact that wrestling has been that one constant for the last 12 months has been a pretty cool thing. I mean, every other sport suffered huge or was completely canceled or postponed. The fact that WWE, AEW, Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor all continued with everything, I think that's actually great. That should actually be the opposite of depressing. That's what I think. TRD. Chris, great news. RVD will be inducted into the Hall of Fame class of 2021. Do you remember when you interviewed him about this last year? Piece from, is that Tama? I do remember. That was actually 2 years ago. That was a WrestleMania in New York City. I interviewed him like sitting at like a bar. And I mean, look, it's obvious RVD is going to be a Hall of Famer. It was just a matter of time. I asked him, who do you want to induct you into the Hall of Fame? Do you guys remember his answer? Remember? And he said Paul Heyman. And I mean, that makes perfect sense. Will Paul Heyman be the guy to induct him? Because if it's not Paul Heyman, who inducts RVD? Maybe Tommy Dreamer? That would make sense. I think we're going to see Paul Heyman, though. But yeah, really cool. Congrats to him. Extremely well-deserved. Corey, back with us. Well, yeah, you're a fashion stylist. Well, it makes perfect sense. Look at that image. Man, I'm going to wear a tuxedo next interview we do, or next one of these that we do. I'm going to absolutely do that. Nicholas, can I interview PJ Black again, please? Sure. Yeah. No, let's do it. He lives here. So, and to answer, wow, this actually works out really well, Zamir. It's like you read my mind. Where do I live? I live in Los Angeles now. Getting chopped by Sean Spears part 2. When? Ooh. I hope never. I hope never. I actually just interviewed him, Counter. Let's say it a few more times. I actually just interviewed him. I think with the amount of interviews I've done over the last handful of months, I think that we're going to be able to say, I actually just interviewed him a whole bunch of times with a bunch of people, I think. Aaron Golden. Would you consider an interview with the Rock and Roll Express? Hell yeah, yeah, of course. In fact, you guys might remember I did an AEW segment with them. Love those guys. Oh my gosh. They are some of the nicest people, not just wrestlers, people you would ever meet. So yeah, I would love to have them on the show. They are awesome. Mark Johnson with £5. Thanks for being with us. Are there any interviews that have been too controversial to upload here on YouTube? Not asking for names, but maybe a PG example. No, actually. There have been some moments in interviews that we weren't able to upload for legal reasons, I will say. So there were times when I had the interview all set, ready to go, and then got a text or a phone call saying, hey, could you edit that part out of it? And that's only happened once or twice. But yeah, as for a full interview not being uploaded, no, not at all. Definitely parts where either the person I was interviewing would get in a lot of legal trouble, or perhaps me would get in a lot of legal trouble. So yes. Angry Magma. Hello, Christopher. That is my real name. Only my mom and dad call me that, though. Keep the positivity going. I'll do my best. And thank you. You're joining us from Canada, greatest country on earth. So thanks for being with us. It's funny. My mom insisted that everybody called me Christopher for most of my life. And speaking of Canada, do you ever miss Toronto? Hell yeah, I miss Toronto. I haven't been home since 2019 because of COVID. I was supposed to go home for Christmas last year and wasn't able to. So yeah, I definitely, wow, I got a little sad there for a second. I just miss it, right? I haven't been home. I haven't seen my parents in 15 months. We FaceTime all the time. Love my parents. Helen and Dirk Van Vliet. They're great. But yeah, I miss it. Favorite Mania set. Also, do you think WWE should reset both rosters after Mania? What do you hope causes the biggest pop of the night? Maybe Lesnar? Well, speaking of WrestleMania, I'm just going to take another sip here of my WrestleMania 30 cup. These are the best. If you ever go to WrestleMania, this is the best buy. Like it's like $9 and you can fill it up with whatever, like any soda that you want. And then you get to keep the mug, keep the cup. My favorite Mania is WrestleMania 18. Rock Hogan's my favorite match of all time, but like think of all the other matches that we had on that card. I was there, right? It's my first ever WrestleMania that I attended. That's my favorite. What do I hope is going to be the biggest pop of the night? Yeah, you're probably right. Probably Lesnar. But look, I think the biggest pop of the night is going to just be the opening of WrestleMania. We haven't seen a live crowd at a WWE show in over a year at this point. People on that Saturday night, when those fireworks explode at the start of the show, are going to be so jacked up. I think that might be the biggest pop of the night. People are going to be like, my God, I'm around other wrestling fans. It's WrestleMania. Ah! Want to say it one more time? Ah! I think oh man, I'm very excited. Notorious Curtis 2001. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Hey, Chris, I have a question. As a fan of Chris Benoit's body of work in the ring, is it okay for me to emulate his style and admit he's one of my biggest influences to get into pro wrestling? That's absolutely okay. I mean, Chris Benoit is one of the greatest wrestlers to ever lace them up. Obviously, it's very tragic what happened the last weekend of his life and what he did. And there's no excuse for that, obviously. But look, you can emulate Chris Benoit all you want, Notorious Curtis. You will never be anywhere close to Chris Benoit. Nobody will. Chris Benoit is incredible. So I think it's totally okay to say that he inspires you, but to try to be like Chris Benoit is like going, man, I really like basketball. I'm going to play like Michael Jordan. Like you can try all you want, but you're not going to be anywhere close to as good as him. Like unbelievable how good he was. All right. Well, we've been on here for 50 minutes. I was planning to go for an hour. So let's rattle off as many as we can here. Still got a bunch of super chats. Thank you guys. Butthole. Not trying to be mean here, Chris. I love you, but you cannot tell me that AEW is trash. Well, yeah, AEW is definitely not trash. Name me one time wrestling was good in years. I mean, wrestling's great right now. It's delusional. No, wrestling's pretty great right now. Wrestling was also great last year. And I mean, obviously you didn't watch Dynamite last week and you saw that match between Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa. Like, how could you possibly watch that match and tell me that AEW is trash? Like, come on, butthole. It's really like saying butthole. But thank you for your question. Look, everybody's entitled to an opinion. This is what's great about wrestling is you can think something's great. I can think something is great. And we can be, completely on different ends of the spectrum, and both of us can be right. Both of us can be wrong. It's the awesome thing about it. I would never say to you, your favorite flavor of ice cream is mint chocolate chip. Come on. Really, man? Really? Rocky Road's so much better. I would go, cool. You like that flavor? I like this flavor. That's awesome. Chris, what a great name. Hey, CVV, big fan of your work. Was wondering your thoughts on living in LA now. I spent 6 months out there a couple of years ago and really enjoyed it. I've now been here for 8 months now. I really enjoy it. I love the outdoors. I've always loved hiking and fishing. I do a little bit of surfing. This place is great because there's so many different things to do. We've got the mountains, we've got the ocean. Really enjoy living here. And career-wise, there's just a ton of opportunities here. So really enjoying it. Thank you for the question. I hope that you enjoyed your 6 months out here. Here's my good friend, Chris Michael Harris, CMH. Thanks for being here, man. You should subscribe to CMH if you're not. There it is, right there. Chris Michael Harris. What's your favorite wrestling promotion right now, and where is the wrestling landscape 10 years from now? Look at you coming in with the powerful questions here. What is my favorite wrestling promotion right now? I think that if we were to look at if we're talking in ring here, okay? In ring, I think the best wrestling right now is New Japan. And that's not a knock on AEW or WWE or Impact or Ring of Honor or any of the other ones. New Japan just keeps churning out like all of these incredible matches. So New Japan, I think right now, maybe that'll be different if you ask me a week from now or a month from now. And the wrestling landscape 10 years from now, I think it's just going to keep growing and keep getting better. And I think that we're definitely in a place right now with wrestling, CMH, where that fine line of what's real and what's not, like kayfabe is it's interesting right now. And I think that 10 years from now, I think that we're going to question even more about like what's real and what's not real. I think we're going to continue to walk that line. I also think WWE is going to be, just like an even bigger global brand by then. Jack, thank you for being here. Man, it's like saying these names very emphatically. Jack, what's an interview you want to do and you haven't done yet? Vince McMahon, top of that list. Bret the Hitman Hart, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Notorious Curtis, thank you for coming back and leaving another one of these super chats. By the way, I'd love to see an interview with AJ Styles at some point. If it does happen, I think it'd be an interesting one to see you and interesting one to see and have to see you talk to him. Yeah, I agree. I would love to interview AJ Styles. What a career he's had. And I've been a huge AJ Styles fan. I was a big AJ Styles fan in TNA. I bought the AJ Styles DVD in 2006. In fact, one of my favorite wrestling matches of all time is an AJ Styles match. It's AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, and Samoa Joe. Three-way. Oh my gosh. If you haven't checked that match out, spend some time right now on YouTube and check it out. So good. All right. How many more super chats can we get to in the next 7 minutes? Let's see. Okay. Jeff, is this Finella? Look, I have a last name. It's tough to pronounce. I got Van Vliet. So Jeff, hey brother, great work. Always you make happen with the names and talent that you get to sit down with. Ever try to reach out to the McMahon Vinny for a sit down? And if you're able to one day, what would be the one question that you'd ask? Look, Jeff, he's at the top of my list. I want to interview Vince more than anybody else. And I just want to find out like what makes him tick. Like look, Vince is the reason we're all here right now, that we're all hanging out on a Tuesday evening together right now. I just want to know like what makes Vince tick. Like little thing. What's Vince's favorite pizza topping? What's Vince's workout routine? Does Vince like pineapple on pizza? Does he? Could you please interview Doug Williams, a true legend of British wrestling? QPR forever. He is a true legend. Sure. Make it happen. Well, this is really nice, Greg. Part of the Chris Van Fleet. Have not watched wrestling since 2009, but love CVV's channel. Wow. That's really kind. Thank you. Wow. Dan Trower, 2507. I appreciate you leaving the super chat. I'm going to try to rattle off as many of these as we can in the next 5-ish minutes, 6-ish minutes. Hey, Chris, love your work. How could I get an interview with you? You're one of my favorite people who interview people. Well, send me an email, cvv@chrisvanvliet.com, and we'll see. Send me a message and I'm sure my schedule will make this happen. Dan, love you, buddy. When are you going to start an ice cream podcast? You liked my ice cream rant? Dan's great. I've known Dan since 2006. Man, can you believe that, Dan? A long time ago. Thank you for joining us on Facebook. Kyle, you're awesome. Thank you for this. Thank you for the $1 super chat. Okay. I think we got a few more here. Tom Talks Rubbish. Thank you for another super chat here. How do you deal with not hitting your goals in your time frame? You missed my chat about my channel. I missed your chat. I scrolled up here. I thought I saw them all. Well, I'm sorry for missing it. How do I deal with not hitting my goals in a time frame? Well, the way I kind of set my goals up is like you've got the bronze level goal, you've got the silver level goal, and you've got the gold level and like the platinum level. So I'm like, all right, I want to do this thing this week, this thing this month, this thing in the next 6 months, this thing in the next year. And then you're kind of just like chopping away at kind of like chopping a tree down. You're never going to chop it down with just like one swipe of the axe. Swipe of the axe, chop of the axe. So I think for me, it's just, if I don't reach those goals, it's a way for me to like sit back and go, all right, let's reevaluate here and let's set another goal. But I don't always want to hit my goals. I want to like set goals that are unachievable. Like that's something I'm super excited about. It's like setting goals that are so ridiculously huge that maybe I can't accomplish them. Maybe not in this lifetime, but I just want to keep going after them. Jack, would you ever do a live stream interview? Yeah, I've done a bunch, actually. I did a bunch at the start of quarantine. We were like doing them like this and people were like asking questions. So you can go back and check those out. But that was a year ago. So maybe it's time to start doing some more. Okay, let's do some more. Do some more live interviews. Did I miss any others here? All right. We're gonna wrap this up in 5 minutes. I can't believe we talked for an hour here. Thank you to everyone who's hung out with us. I don't do these enough. I should probably do these far more often. I think the last one I did was like, I don't know, 6 months ago or something like that. 5 months ago. Okay. Hold on. I think we got one more here. That's another one from Notorious Curtis. Thank you. Out of curiosity, if you were to ever interview someone like Okada, Naito, Ibushi, geez, how would you get around the language barrier? Well, I'd hope to have a translator. I think that's the only way it would work. By the way, I hope an interview with Jay White happens at some point. I hope it does. We're going to both be in Tampa at the same time for WrestleCon. So fingers crossed we can make that happen. But I think that any of the interviews with the Japanese talent who don't speak a ton of English, I think it's going to have to be done with a translator. Oh, and you just left one more. Oh my gosh. Notorious Curtis 2001. Thank you. Last one before I annoy you. I'm not annoyed. Please keep them coming. I hope that you can see me wrestle one day, and I hope to have the honor of you interviewing me one day if I do break into the business. Well, first of all, let's take that if out of there, because if you're wanting to break into the business, this is not an if, it's a matter of when. And when you break into the business, I look forward to interviewing you. I can't wait. So get rid of that if. It's not an if you break into the business. You will break into the business. Do you think CM Punk will ever wrestle for AEW? I don't know if CM Punk's going to ever wrestle anywhere else. I don't know if it's going to be AEW, WWE, New Japan. I think that he's done. I think he's done with wrestling. So I think we can continue to chant his name as long as we want. I just don't know if we're going to see him. All right, let's do 5 more questions. Then we'll wrap this thing up. We'll do it another time. If you're watching this and you haven't subscribed yet, take a second right now. Please subscribe to the podcast. Well, yes, subscribe to the podcast if you listen to podcasts, but please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Got a bunch of interviews coming out. Vince Russo, Ethan Page, Dr. Bo Hightower, which is this comment that Jerry Garcia just left. Can you still feel the neck crack and neck pull from Dr. Hightower? How did it feel? It was quite a relief. Like, that guy has magic in his fingers. My goodness. He's the best. He's the very best. And if you're in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and you're looking for a chiropractor to get you feeling right, go check out Dr. Bo Hightower. Stanley Wagner Jr., are you planning on interviewing Juice and Finley anytime soon? I mean, they're not in the plan, but I'd love to. Sure. We're talking about Juventud Guerrera. Is that the Juice you're talking about? I was actually just talking to him about setting up an interview. So you might be seeing that one sooner rather than later. Okay. I get there's a lot of people that have asked a lot of questions here, and I'm so sorry if I didn't get to everybody. I wanted to get to all the super chats that I could get to first, because I appreciate you guys spending your hard-earned money to hang out with this guy in his boat shirt here. The first WrestleMania you ever saw, Fernando Diaz, the first one I ever saw live was WrestleMania 2000. So that's WrestleMania 16. Technically, yeah, WrestleMania 2000. That was the first one I ever saw live. This was like when you would go to the theater. Remember when you'd go to the theater and you'd pay like a ticket and like go watch it in a theater? So yeah, so that was my first one that I ever watched. Then I went to one 2 years later. Nate R, thank you for the super chat. Jeff Hardy interview? Question mark. My hat's off to you, Chris. Love your content and professionalism. Keep up the phenomenal job. Like what you did with the phenomenal thing there. AJ Styles. So I've interviewed Jeff Hardy once, but we're talking 10 years ago. That interview is on my channel if you want to go way back and find it. He is awesome. Love that dude. Actually, I've interviewed him twice. I interviewed him with Broken Matt, like right before they came back to WWE, right before they came back in Orlando at WrestleMania. So yeah, check him out. I'd love to have him on again. He's fascinating. And my finisher when I was a backyard wrestler was the Swanton Bomb. So obviously very inspired by Jeff Hardy. TTR, Tom Talks Rubbish. Thank you for another one. As we're going to do one more right after this, and then that's it. Okay. And then we're wrapping it up here. An interview or a YouTuber that I want to interview is Brandon Does Everything, who I just did an interview with him. So you'll be seeing it on my channel. Yeah. He's great, man. I'm so proud of that guy. Full-time YouTuber, 21 years old, does some amazing WWE 2K stuff. Love BDE. So it was such a great conversation. And for anybody who's ever aspired to be like a content creator full-time, there's a ton of stuff you can learn from him. All right. One more question before we wrap this thing up. Oh my gosh, it's going to be a good one here. It has to be a good one. I've answered a lot of these, like a lot of people saying, who's your dream interview? Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon's the dream interview. So, butthole, please stop. AEW is not trash. Please stop. If you don't like AEW, just don't watch it. It's really as simple as that. If you don't like it, you don't have to watch it. But it's not trash. It's the opposite of trash. So what is the opposite of trash? I don't know. Stuff that's good. Yeah. Stone Cold versus the Hitman. I'd like to see that. Okay. All right. I said we'll do one more. So I think did we get one more here? Oh my gosh. I don't know. There's so many here. Okay. I'll answer this one. I've answered a lot of wrestling questions. So the final question is not going to be a wrestling question. And thank you guys again for hanging out with us. Like, this has been such a cool way to hang out and spend this time with you this afternoon. So thank you. Marco Jacobs, as we wrap things up here, thank you so much for being part of this, to you and to everybody else. If you weren't a media personality, what would you be? Great question. But honestly, I never really thought of a plan B. I really didn't. I never thought of a plan B. Like when I was in college, I was like, I'm going to give my absolute all to become a television personality, to become a TV host. And I just put all my eggs in that basket. So I never had a plan B. If I wasn't doing this, I would still be trying to do this. That's the honest to God truth. That's what I would be doing. Nate sliding in that super chat right before we wrap this up. Now, one of my goals is to interview you at some point. Okay. Well, there we go. I'm all about goals, right? You guys know it. Vague goals get vague results. And Cody, you have that confidence. It's in you. It's just a matter of bringing it out and believing in yourself and knowing that it's absolutely possible. There we go, guys. That's it. All right. That's it. This was so much fun. And thank you for joining us on this. Thank you for being a subscriber. Thank you for appreciating these conversations that we have. Insight with Chris Van Vliet is my podcast. The interviews go up there first, and then we put them here on YouTube a day or two later. So thank you, guys. Super appreciate you for being here. And I hope that you have an amazing Tuesday. I hope you have an amazing week. I'm at Chris Van Vliet on Instagram and Twitter. If you don't follow me, check me out on there. Be great. Be grateful, my friends. And we'll see you soon.